This episode of Tech News Day is sponsored by Mack Weldon and by Made in Cookware.
Folks, we have a huge apology that we need to make. For the last several years, we've laughed at the absurdity of the war on Christmas.
Well, you served.
Yeah, I know. I was there. We've mocked conservatives in this country that have been warning for years that the liberal Democrats are going to take Christmas away like the Grinches that they are. But it turns out they were right.
For the wrong reasons.
And we were wrong. Because with more than 2 months to go before the birthday of the Lord Jesus Christ, Joe Biden and his socialist agenda have finally done what we've been warned about over and over and over. The Democrats have canceled Cha-Chunk Christmas.
Well, at least you'll finally be able to get into the VFW halls, because now that there is an actual war on Christmas, and you are a war on Christmas veteran, there's no questioning at the door.
I ordered so many presents just to watch them die face down in the Pacific.
Give me my 25-cent beer and shut up. All right, well, look, okay, Christmas not exactly canceled, but this week, White House officials did tell Reuters, when asked about this year's holiday shopping season, quote, "There will be things that people can't get, like the Furby."
No Furby for you.
And the reason for this isn't false scarcity. It's actually a huge supply chain issue that is affecting not just the US, but the entire world. And it's gradually been getting worse for the last year and a half. There are shipping bottlenecks affecting ports, railways, highways, and warehouses. That's the whole chain. And every link in the chain is congested as hell and having problems getting stuff to where it needs to go on time. This is creating actual scarcity, which leads to higher product prices at the wholesale and retail levels.
So what's causing all of this? Well, it's multiple factors that combine to create a beautiful cascading effect of chaos. The Port of Los Angeles these days looks a lot like the Suez Canal did back when the Ever Given clogged that whole thing up. It's not as bad. Ships are getting in eventually, but there's more ships coming in from Asia than the port can handle. So a lot of these ships are just waiting for several days off the coast for a chance to unload.
And they'll just toss their anchor anywhere.
Yeah.
Right onto an oil pipeline.
Yep.
Whoops.
There's also labor shortages in trucking and in warehouses, so there's fewer people to get the goods from the ships to where they need to get to eventually. And they're having to wait around much longer than usual. You got the ships just sitting off the coast, and then you got the trucks just sitting, waiting for the ships. In normal times, the fact that so much of our goods are imported from China, that was advantageous in so many ways. Mm-hmm. It's cheap, it's fast, but now it's just become a huge liability.
No bicycle under the tree this year.
No.
Sorry.
You get coal. American clean coal.
Delicious American clean coal. But still, what is causing this? Well, let's just read from the LA Times. What caused the problem? In a word, COVID-19. The pandemic whirled up a toxic brew of forces that triggered and then exacerbated the shipping logjam. The first blow came when many of the Chinese plants that build parts or assemble goods for global manufacturers were shut down by coronavirus outbreaks. Similar disruptions soon spread across the globe, affecting both manufacturers and the logistics companies that ship, store, and deliver their goods. After a brief COVID-related recession, however, demand for goods grew quickly as people shifted to online buying and took up new habits. A surge in home improvement projects, for example, boosted demand for appliances and construction materials. Manufacturers face a perfect storm of issues, said Nick Vyas, executive director of the Kendrick Global Supply Chain Institute at the USC Marshall School of Business. Labor, transportation, and logistics costs are up. There's reduced capacity because of the problems all along the supply chain, and there's a finite amount of resources across the board, including the number of containers and amount of manufacturing capacity.
It continues. We might be able to buffer against one type of risk or two types of risk, but it's the fact that all these challenges are happening at the same time, said Nicole de Horatius, an adjunct professor of operations management at the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business. The pandemic is not entirely to blame. Robert Hanfield, the Bank of America professor of supply chain management at North Carolina State University, said that warehouse, distribution, and truck driver shortages were bad before COVID. The delays caused by the backlog in deliveries have been particularly disruptive to companies that operate with small inventories and rely on just-in-time shipments to fill orders. To avoid that pitfall, some companies are ordering extra supplies and components as a precaution, increasing the strain on the distribution system. Another factor, concerns about the spread of COVID-19 and its variants have made it harder for trucks to cross borders. A report Monday by Moody's Analytics said the difference among countries' efforts to control the coronavirus have gummed up the movement of transportation workers at ports and other freight hubs, contributing to a problem that will get worse before it gets better. And it's not easy to restart factories after they've been shut down to stem surges in coronavirus cases. Raw materials back up, and it can take weeks to restart production, Vyas said. The supply chain is a system, he said. When you create shocks from the supply to the demand side and that continues to happen, the system isn't getting enough time to reset and recalibrate.
But look, this is great news because you can support your local communities by going to all of their garage sales to pick up all your Christmas presents this year.
I mean,
one man's trash is another kid's Christmas present.
This is probably the best time.
Do they even know if the tricycle's like a year, like brand new? No.
Yeah, your kid's dumb. They don't give a shit.
Yeah, just put a new coat of paint on it.
Yeah, it's not. You can restore a shitty bicycle very easily. It's a fun little project.
Yeah,
for you.
it's gonna be great for you. You should actually give it to your child completely in disrepair, and then you can build it together, and it'll be a great bonding moment that they will have for the rest of their lives.
I mean, this is a great time for buying local and buying used.
Exactly.
Yeah, because everything's more expensive. I saw someone on Twitter posted a gallon of milk costing $8. I don't know where this was, but
this is Joe Biden's fault. Whatever.
This is Joe Biden's fault.
No, you go get an Amazon box or like go down to the Macy's or whatever and just get a box.
Yeah.
And you can put anything from Goodwill in it as long as it doesn't smell bad, and people will be like, "Oh, look at my beautiful dress! My husband got it for me at Macy's."
Yeah.
So
she's not gonna know. What's she gonna do? Check the catalogs?
Yeah, that would be a dick move. Anyways, again, it's a bunch of different problems. It's all kind of stemming from COVID, obviously, but all COVID really did was reveal existing flaws in our supply chains, which work great until they suddenly don't. When trans-Pacific sea trade is backed up, it causes a domino effect that backs up the entire national supply chain. And like so many problems these days, it seems like a lot of it could have been helped by proactive and forward thinking about what to do if this kind of exact situation were to arise.
Yeah, it's our supply chain is very similar to the Texas power grid.
Yes.
When it works, everyone, it works great.
Well,
when it doesn't work, it is fucking catastrophic.
It's a horrific view into the future with climate change.
Mm-hmm.
Like, shouldn't we be doing something about this?
Well, it's not happening right now.
We'll worry about it later. Later, actually, this shows that later happens.
It does.
Yeah, and we're living through it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, earlier this month, the Washington Post published an in-depth report on supply chain issues, including lots of specific examples of how it looks on the ground at various parts of the chain. And the whole article, it is worth reading, but here's a section that goes into how ill-prepared the U.S. shipping industry was for all of this.
For goods to move seamlessly from overseas factories to American addresses, the ocean-going vessels, shipping containers, cargo terminals, truckers, chassis providers, and railroads all must work together, like runners in a relay race. If equipment gets stuck at any point, delays ripple along the entire chain. Yet the United States is decades behind foreign ports in getting carriers, terminals, and shippers to provide each other access to commercial data for planning purposes, said Gene Soroka, executive director of the Port of Los Angeles. Concerns over data privacy, business secrets, and security have resulted in a fragmented approach. Individual ports operate as separate fiefdoms rather than as part of a national system. In the Dutch city of Rotterdam, Europe's largest port, everyone involved in a cargo vessel's arrival sees the same information on a common data sharing platform. Called Port Exchange, the software makes port calls smarter and more efficient than the use of separate systems or the telephone, according to the port's website. Soroka touts a tool called the Port Optimizer, which forecasts 3 weeks of incoming cargo. More information sharing, including over a longer period of time, would allow carriers, terminals, truckers, and dock workers to better position equipment and people. But other than Los Angeles, New Orleans is the only U.S. port that is even testing the system. Quote, information sharing and additional transparency is one of the few areas where indisputably we could get more capacity out of the current system, said Dan Maffei, chairman of the Federal Maritime Commission.
So, yeah, but back to Joe Biden canceling Christmas. That's what we're all here for.
He's canceling it, that Grinch.
Yeah, he looks like the Grinch more than any other president. Compared to all the other ones, I guess.
He does.
Yeah.
Reagan kind of looked like a Grinch.
Yeah, I miss I guess I don't miss a fat, jolly president. Well, Trump wasn't jolly, he was just fat. Yeah. But a fat, jolly president would be nice.
Yeah, if Trump had gotten himself stuck in a bathtub like Taft.
Or a chimney.
Yeah, or a chimney.
Yeah. I was trying to give presents, not take them, I swear. So look, Joe Biden canceling Christmas, not exactly Joe Biden's fault, but as president, it is his responsibility. So, he's going to have to fall on the sword for this one.
Or do something about it at least. Address it.
Yeah.
Tackle the problem.
I think he's currently working with the Port of Los Angeles to
He's making them work in 24-hour shifts.
Yeah, pull restrictions to make people work 24/7.
Yeah, that's just pushing the burden onto laborers who are already not having a great time.
Yeah, and hopefully they hire more again to be able to do that.
A lot of this, it's we're spending so much fucking money on these. Because the cost of a shipping container going from China to the U.S. has like quadrupled in the last year and a half. So that's a lot of money. It's like fucking like tens of thousands of dollars to ship a giant container ship. But it's like, well, I mean, obviously more labor is that you're gonna need to have more workers working. So maybe pass some of that money you're already spending on this dumb bullshit onto the workers that are going to solve it.
It's like a lot of big corporations were getting a discount for so long. And then they're like, you can't have the discount anymore. They're like, well, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know. I can't do anything. I'm offering $14 an hour for people to come fix this, and they don't want to do it. I don't get it. I guess that's it.
Did you see the post about the guy who like then complained that he had to do the job for the money that he was offering?
You turned down your own offer.
Anyways, it is going to fall on Joe Biden. That's the case. It sounds like optimizing the U.S. supply chain with better communications protocols would go a long way here. There's also the fact that federal investment in West Coast ports has lagged behind East and Gulf Coast ports by a pretty huge margin over the past few years. And in the short term, there are calls for Biden to end or reduce Trump's tariffs on Chinese imports, even if just temporarily, to at least reduce the financial burden the supply chain issues are creating for retailers. There aren't really any quick fixes, though. This is how global trade has worked for the past 50 years. Things might gradually get back to normal over the next few months, but bottom line, if you've got some big holiday purchases picked out, you should have ordered them in July.
Yeah.
Or right now.
Yeah.
If that's the case. You got to get those AirPods. You were waiting for Apple to announce some new ones. Well, they're not, so get the old ones and order them now.
For electronics, do it now. But if you're willing to change things up, I'm sure wherever you live, there are local artisans who would be happy to provide you with something physical right now,
Farm
today.
to table.
Yeah.
Just beautifully green, handcrafted AirPods.
Yeah, this is all just exposing how fucking inefficient this is. There's even the U.S. in particular, like even our rail lines, they're all privately owned, our shipping lines. So it's this weird, just like hodgepodge of different rail lines, and like most of them have contracts with each other where they can rent the lines, but it's already one of the shittiest rail systems in the world, and like the fact that it's all splintered up between different companies just makes it even more efficient because they can't just take the straightest route to where they're going. They have to use their own lines.
The example we have recently is like I upgraded my computer for the show at the beginning of the year. And then you're like, hey, can I get that parts list so I can upgrade my rig? And I sent you the parts list, and you looked at all the parts now, and you're like, oh, God.
Yeah, it's gone up a horrible amount. I'm not even going to say how much more I paid, or how the company paid, but it's and that's the chip shortage, which is just like one aspect of this. A lot of shortages. This is what you get when you decide that. To save money, you're going to have a large part of your manufacturing process done in another country on the other side of the world. And you're going to have to move a lot more things around when that happens. And things get clogged up.
Yeah. Well,
that's the price of freedom, guys.
Anyway, speaking of COVID-19 and its effect on the U.S. economy, last month, Biden announced vaccine mandates for federal employees, healthcare workers, and companies with 100 or more employees. But now, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has issued his own mandate banning vaccine mandates.
Yeah.
Flip-flop. Confused?
Yeah, it's the Uno card.
It was just like, what's his name from Florida? DeSantis. It was like, I got a mandate for you. No mandates.
Yeah. Boom, what are you going to do?
If you're confused, hey, get in line. So are a lot of businesses over in Texas. Here's the Texas Tribune.
Companies doing business in Texas face new and complicated challenges after Governor Greg Abbott this week banned COVID-19 vaccine mandates for all entities in the state, including private businesses, for employees or customers. The ramifications for businesses could begin as soon as Friday, when companies that enter into contract work with the federal government will be required to have all employees vaccinated under orders from the White House. This conflicts with Abbott's ban on vaccine mandates, putting the many Texas businesses that receive federal contracts in a tough position. Comply with federal law and violate Abbott's ban, or comply with Abbott and turn down business from the federal government. In addition to federal contractors, President Joe Biden has also announced that businesses with more than 100 employees must mandate vaccination against COVID-19 or require regular testing.
But yeah, the new Texas mandate banning mandates doesn't really seem all that enforceable.
No.
Since the U.S. Constitution's supremacy clause means that federal law supersedes state law.
Damn it.
So several large companies in Texas quickly announced that they're going to be ignoring Greg Abbott on this one. The biggest being American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, Chevron, Dell, IBM, and multiple hospital systems. Legal experts that Insider spoke to said Abbott's order is more of a political statement than a legal statement.
Yeah.
Which ultimately won't have a real legal effect. And it sounds like that's what all these companies are also thinking.
Yeah, it's completely unenforceable. And also, like, it's funny because, you know, these Republicans, and Greg Abbott especially, the way he markets Texas is like, we're going to stay out of your business. Come to Texas and run your company.
Unless it's abortion or anything having to do with vaccines.
And now it's like a lot of these companies, like I think IBM and Dell, they had made their own internal vaccine requirements.
Yeah.
Because that's what they wanted. Like
Exactly.
They weren't doing it because anyone was telling them to. And now Greg Abbott's like, you're not allowed to do that thing you wanted to do.
Oh.
We don't interfere with business decisions unless they're the ones we disagree with. And then we interfere like crazy.
Elon's happy.
Oh yeah, Tesla moving its headquarters to Texas.
And I love that he put all the blame on like that one, I forget who it was, like calling him out. Well, fine, I will leave. Like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's an interesting choice. I mean, it's the funniest thing is, I mean, they were already building a Tesla factory in Austin, so that was already going to happen. They're just moving their headquarters there now as well.
Now that he doesn't have the boat anchor Grimes.
But Texas does not allow direct sales of cars, so Tesla will be headquartered and manufacturing cars in a state in which to buy a car. If you live in Austin and you want to buy a car that was manufactured down the street at the Tesla factory. From the company Tesla, based in Austin, that car has to be shipped out of state to like fucking New Mexico or Oklahoma, and then they just turn it back around and bring it right back to Texas.
That's why he's developing that Hyperloop.
Yeah, and like speaking of like fucking supply chain issues, like buying a car that has to be sent hundreds of miles away and then brought immediately back.
You're completely offsetting
that's a supply chain issue.
Offsetting the actual like carbon things that you'd be saving by driving the car by having it shipped on a fucking semi truck for no reason.
Yeah, and then I mean, just in general, Texas has obviously like a horrible track record on energy and green energy. They're doing fucking nothing to incentivize green energy.
It's a very odd choice.
It's a very odd choice.
It's one that's made intentionally like out of spite and tax avoidance.
Sure.
I just hope they change the Tesla logo to look more like a set of longhorns.
That would be,
The T is just like...
get some horns on the front of my Tesla.
Well, they have that. One of those YouTubers that's like a new Jackass type guy has a longhorn Tesla, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I obviously we don't really like Elon Musk around here, but it would be nice if he was able to somehow flip Texas on clean energy by doing this. Like, that would be a good outcome. I don't know.
I don't like the man Elon Musk, but I think Teslas they're nice cars, and I like that they can land rockets. It's cool stuff.
It's SpaceX, but yeah, I mean,
it is just funny. Like when you see the reporting about, like the one reporting I saw, I can't remember what outlet it was, but it was like tech genius Elon Musk.
Shut up.
Moves to Texas.
Fuck off. I hate that shit.
Anyways, we're off topic. Well, sort of. We're talking about Texas.
Yeah. Speaking of Texas, that's where Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin rockets take off from. And the latest news is that despite our concerns that Bezos was going to accidentally kill 90-year-old Captain Kirk actor William Shatner this week, and also Shatner's own apparent anxiety over the whole thing, that was thankfully not the case.
Yes.
William Shatner is alive, and he's officially the oldest person to ever fly to space, or at least Blue Origin's definition of space.
It's space.
Their launches don't actually cross the Kármán line, so it's actually not space.
They float. It's as close as tourism's gonna get for now. It's fine. It's like semantics. It's like, come on.
It is, but technically it's not space. Just so we're clear.
Everyone who watches this show knows by now. Obviously they're talking about the Kármán line.
No, anytime we don't mention it, someone in the comments is like, well, actually the Kármán line is what scientists believe the real definition of space is, so stop lying, please.
And that person's glasses are held together with tape in the middle.
It's just all tape.
Yeah.
Anyway, William Shatner, regardless of your definition of space, still went higher than most people will ever go, and he seemed to have really, really loved it.
Yeah, it was a profound experience if you watch his statement. But as you recall, during Blue Origin's previous launch, when Bezos himself went to space, Bezos spent a few brief minutes that he had up there not looking out the window, instead fooling around with zero gravity and throwing candy into the mouths of the other passengers.
Yeah, it was just a ride for him.
Yes, I'll be back. I'll look at it next time.
Yeah.
And when he got back down to Earth, it seemed like his main takeaway from this very unique experience was that we should move factories into space somehow. It was kind of shocking, considering that most astronauts who go into space, they do experience something called the overview effect. It's a profound and humbling reaction to seeing the Earth from far away, just floating delicately in the vastness of space, which astronauts often describe as the most meaningful moment of their lives. If anyone could probably use something like that, it would be the world's richest man. But the overview effect seems to have not had an effect on Mr. Bezos.
Nope, not at all.
Nor does he think anyone else is experiencing it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, I guess. I mean, it's the Earth. I own a lot of that.
Yeah.
Sick.
I could buy that whole thing.
Yeah. But William Shatner, on the other hand, definitely experienced the overview effect, like the textbook version of it.
It was like he was coming down from a shroom trip.
Yeah, his comments and demeanor upon returning from space came off like a guy who just had a near-death religious experience.
Yeah.
On shrooms.
He did DMT without having to actually do it.
But before he made those comments, explaining himself, something very interesting happened, which only helped to underscore Jeff Bezos' complete lack of any overview effect. So when Shatner first came out of the capsule, he was immediately greeted by Bezos, and he started telling him about his experience and getting him very emotional and whatnot. But then, well, okay, actually, let's just watch the clip of what happened then, because this is incredible.
Not only is it different than what you thought, it happened so quickly.
Well done! First time.
You know what the impression I had that I never expected to have is you're shooting up.
Oh my God.
Give me a champagne bottle.
Come here. I want one.
I
want to hear this. Here. You want a little of this? Hey. Oh my God.
The champagne showers have begun. Smiles all around. William Shatner taking in the moment clearly.
So yeah, that was Jeff Bezos interrupting William Shatner during the most awestruck moment of his entire life to grab a bottle of champagne and shake it all over a crowd of people while Shatner just stands there. Clearly not in the mood for this, like clearly coming down from
What are you doing? Yeah.
just a profound life-changing experience.
Yeah, it's like smoking a bunch of weed and then going to a party where everyone's on cocaine. It's just the fuck vibe.
Whoa, I'm in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So it was an incredible scene. Not just that, but like the moments leading up, you can tell that he's like trying to like grasp the word.
Yeah, no, he's going through it.
Yeah, he is still experiencing. He's in the afterglow.
Yeah.
And Bezos is just like, hey, what? Can we get the champagne? Where's the champagne?
Bill,
at?
you want a glass
Hey,
of champagne?
shut
He's
up,
like,
Bill.
No, no, I'm dealing with something else right now.
I do not want to be drunk right now. I don't
Yeah.
want to. I want to live in this moment for as long as humanly possible. But I guess let's party, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so once things calmed down and Shatner finally got a word in edgewise, he immediately became so overcome that he was sobbing while trying to put into words how he felt. He went on for a few minutes just describing basically the textbook overview effect that most other astronauts experience, being surrounded by complete blackness and emptiness while looking down at the entire planet where everyone that exists lives.
That we
You're
know
looking
about.
down at humanity itself.
Yeah, everything you know in the world.
And everything you have ever known and will ever know.
Yeah.
And you are above it all looking at it. It's almost like dying.
There's no borders. It's just all there. It's delicate. There's just the thinnest layer of atmosphere keeping us protected from the vacuum of space.
And a beautiful little hodgepodge of ships all off the port of Los Angeles. What are they trying to say to me?
They really do move in herds.
Here's what he said. What you've given me is the most profound experience I can imagine. I'm so filled with emotion about what just happened. It's extraordinary. I hope I never recover from it. I hope that I can maintain what I feel now. I don't want to lose it. And yeah, I can't imagine the feeling.
No, it was actually really cool seeing, I mean, listen, I'm on record as saying this Blue Origin shit's kind of dumb, but this kind of changed my mind about it. I'm like, it was dumb that they sent Bezos up first and a bunch of like other rich assholes, and like that one lady, she seemed into
cool.
it.
Yeah.
But she trained for this shit. Whereas like William Shatner, like, this is something he assumed we would never get to experience.
If we send 100 rich people up to space and 50% of them have this moment, it might actually do something.
That's my thought. Is like we need we
need to humble these billionaires.
Even if Jeff Bezos isn't like even if half the Jeff Bezos of the world go up there and just feel nothing because their souls are just pure blackness. And
that might be an
complete
actual
sociopaths.
indication of some kind of misfiring.
Yeah, like
you can't you come down and you're like, yeah, it was fucking sick, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, if even like half or less than half of the rich assholes in the world can go up there and like experience this moment of just like being just extremely humbled and just having their concept of their self and their relationship with the world shattered, like that could actually do a lot of good for the world. We should do that. Send them all up.
Look, it's a great experiment.
Yeah.
And if a couple don't make it, hey, that's the business of doing space.
Yeah, that's the risk you take.
That is. Anyways, I'm very happy that William Shatner is not dead.
You know who's not happy? George Takei.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys they've had beef with each other for 60 years. A bit
He's
long.
probably very upset. I'll have to listen to Howard Stern to get the comments.
He was asked about it. He was real sassy about it. I mean, he hates William Shatner and probably has some good reasons for it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, come on, man. Like, let the man enjoy going into space. Don't be such a dick about it. Mm-hmm. Whatever.
Well, I'm sure he has his reasons.
I'm sure they both do, but it's like, their fucking show aired in the 60s. Come on.
Yeah, it's been 50 years.
You're both so old. Get over it.
Yeah. Anyways, we got more news for you. But first, this episode is sponsored by Mack Weldon. And guess what? It's cooling down here. Even in Los Angeles, it's cooling down. And I've been wearing more of the Mack Weldon sweatpants and stuff like that.
Yep. I'm wearing my Mack Weldons right now.
You out there watching, you're busy. Stop thinking about what to wear and just embrace the radically efficient Mack Weldon Daily Wear System. The Daily Wear System is a selection of clothes rooted in smart design, made with performance fabrics, and built to work together. From breathable t-shirts and polos to stylish button-ups and shorts, underwear, and beyond. Mack Weldon makes it easy for you to dress for work, leisure, and play, or wherever the seasons take you.
Well, we were first introduced to Mack Weldon via their underwear and socks, but this past year and a half has solidified our love for Mack Weldon's pants, shorts, sweatshirts, the whole collection. They're extremely comfortable Ace sweatpants and sweat shorts, and their Sunday lounge pants are perfect when you're spending the most of the day at home lounging, but you also want to be able to leave the house at a moment's notice and not look like a slob. People will be like, hey, nice pants. Like, they don't know I'm actually wearing sweatpants. It's like the meme.
Yeah.
And the good news is that Mack Weldon's bottoms pair perfectly with Mack Weldon's tops, whether it's their ultra soft Pima tees for keeping it casual or their Silvernet polos for classing it up a bit.
Focus on what matters to you this season by saving time and wearing Mack Weldon products. Buy some time with Mack Weldon's Daily Wear System. For 20% off your first order, visit MackWeldon.com/Newsday and enter promo code Newsday. That is MackWeldon.com/Newsday. Promo code Newsday for 20% off. Mack Weldon, radically efficient wardrobing.
And this episode is sponsored by Made In. Have you ever wondered how your favorite restaurants consistently make such delicious food? The short answer is they have access to the right kitchen tools. With Made In's professional quality cookware and kitchenware, anyone is capable of making restaurant quality food at home. Made In produces professional quality cookware for those who love to cook. They source the finest materials and partner with renowned craftsmen to make premium kitchen tools available directly to you without the markup. Made In products are made to last and they offer a lifetime guarantee. Their cookware distributes heat evenly and can easily go from stovetop to the oven. They have over 40,000 five-star reviews, and their products are used by some of the world's best chefs at Michelin-starred restaurants around the world. So you don't have an excuse anymore. Can't blame it on the cookware. Yeah.
Made In is better cookware for better meals. And right now, Made In is offering our viewers 15% off your first order with promo code Newsday. And this is the best discount available anywhere online for Made In products. Just for us.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Go to madeincookware.com/Newsday and use our promo code Newsday for 15% off your first order. That is madeincookware.com/Newsday. Use promo code Newsday. Get cooking.
Yeah.
Finally.
They got it all. They got non-stick. They got carbon.
Yeah.
They got
wine glasses.
Stainless. They got wine glasses. Yeah.
Everything you need to be the best cook you can be.
And good cookware, it really does. It changes the
Some of our sponsors help you learn how to cook. These give you the proper tools so you don't screw it up.
Yep. All right, back to the news now. Let's move on to some dystopian news.
Oh, we haven't been there already?
In fact, it's all dystopian for the rest of the episode. Sorry. So ever since companies like Boston Dynamics started showing off more and more advanced and capable robots, everyone has correctly assumed that it was only a matter of time before governments and defense companies started giving these robots guns. And would you look at that? It's a robot with a big old gun. This quadrupedal design, it closely resembles Boston Dynamics' iconic Spot robot, but this is actually the work of a company called Ghost Robotics. Not sinister sounding at all.
No.
They outfitted one of their robots with a remotely controlled rifle from a company called Sword International. Sounds like a fucking Metal Gear Solid entity.
Well, and so that's the thing
Sword
too.
International.
With all of this stuff that Boston Dynamics is making, it's just like, okay, so you say that you're going to not sell it to governments and police departments.
But you're inspiring all these other companies to do the exact same thing.
Oh,
with
Coca-Cola exists. I better not invent Pepsi.
Yeah, that's the problem with their inventions. They're like, well, we would never do that, but they've clearly.
Someone buys a Spot robot and they can replicate it immediately.
Yeah, they used to be the only ones, but now there's dozens of companies doing similar looking robots who do not have the same moral qualms about just sending these things out with a gun onto a battlefield.
And we are, I would say, less than a decade away from police robot dogs patrolling protests.
Yeah.
It's
coming.
Look, the dog, it's not racist. It's a robot.
Yeah.
Like,
how can you call it?
It's going to be a huge fucking issue. Anyways, this epic collab between the two defense manufacturers was revealed this week at a U.S. Army convention in Washington, D.C., though the details of the relationship are unclear, and it's also unclear if they're actually selling this combo item or simply marketing the fact that if you wanted to, you could mount this unmanned gun to this robot.
Yeah. We would never sell a robot with a gun, but
we'll sell you the parts.
Some might say, based on our demonstration right here at our booth, that you could, in fact, buy their gun and our robot, and through a little bit of electronics trickery, you might be able to fuse them into one killing machine. Not saying you should, just saying you could.
Yeah, and we both get to successfully not take the blame. Bye!
Yeah.
Anyways, the U.S. military already has a bunch of Ghost Robotics robots and has been testing ways to use them. I wonder what they're using them for.
They're using them for like surveillance and reconnaissance.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of bases they just have them like patrolling.
They could have used it when that ninja attacked.
Yeah.
Where were you then, lazy robot? Yeah. So yeah, it's not a stretch that they'd see this and want to give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Of course they would.
Yeah.
The military has so much fucking money. We just give them all of our money and you're like, all right, we'll just make sure like to keep us safe or whatever. And they're
to keep us safe. Yeah, that's the thing is it's always like the idea is like, wouldn't it be great if everyone paid their fair share of taxes? But then we also live in America where all that money's just going to go to the military.
Yeah, all of our taxes could be like half what they are if we didn't have.
We could have healthcare. Yeah. We could have taxpayer-funded healthcare like that if we wanted to.
The funniest fucking, most not funny, but like something from this recent budget gridlock is that someone pointed out. I had never noticed, but every time a defense budget gets approved, they talk about it in terms of decades.
Yeah.
They talk about it in terms of years. So it's like, this is how much we're spending in 1 year on defense. And then when they talk about anything else, they're like, it's going to cost this much over a decade. But
yeah,
so it's a bigger number.
Yeah.
It's not per year, it's per decade. So it looks like a bigger number than what it costs for defense.
It's the tactics that they use at like the 99-cent store.
Yeah.
They're just like, I mean, but yeah, that's what is kind of aggravating about it. It's like, imagine a wonderful utopian world where Jeff Bezos is paying billions of dollars a year in taxes, and the U.S. military is just like, oh, cool, thanks.
Yeah, they just give all of it to the military. We still don't get healthcare or anything.
We have like 500 extra F-35s now.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, but I thought we were going to solve the housing crisis and get taxpayer-funded healthcare.
No, we need to prepare for a never-ending Cold War with China that's just going to keep escalating in an arms race that is all pretty much pointless given that we live in the age of nukes. Like, none of this fucking matters.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
Huh. Well, anyways, there's nothing stopping anyone from putting a gun on these robots anymore. So, since the U.S. government hasn't prohibited the development or deployment of killer robots, they are free to roam the earth.
Yeah, just go wild with it.
Yeah. So, it is also not a huge stretch to imagine that what's been happening with UAV drones for the past 20 years is going to be happening on the ground. with these robots.
Yeah.
And, James Cameron, being the forward thinker that he is, predicted all of this in Judgment Day.
He did. He did.
It's the opening scene of Judgment Day.
He just got the robot design wrong. Like if you're gonna update Terminator 2 or Terminator and Terminator 2, what they do is they send back a dog. They don't send back Arnold. They send back a golden retriever that's just like, "Hi, I'm gonna be your friend," and then it shoots you.
Any animal, because they have a bunch of other robots that mimic other animals that are able to do things that animals do, and that's part of the thing is like making it less terrifying for humans because it just looks like an animal. So you're not looking at a humanoid like the Terminator. You're looking at like a thing that looks like a dog. You're like, oh, that's cute, even though it has a gun on it.
Yeah, it's just a little dog.
And based on what we've learned from Americans, they think they can take it.
Yeah,
I can take it. Hey,
you cannot take it.
Fuck, come at me, robot dog. I'll fucking beat your ass.
And just pulls out a gun.
Yeah. Whereas like if you saw a humanoid robot, you'd be like, I can't fuck with that. It doesn't even bruise.
Yeah.
So. Anyways.
In other dystopian news, remember Clearview AI, the controversial facial recognition company that markets to law enforcement and has an absolutely massive library of photos scraped from social media? They have pictures of all of us on their computers somewhere. If you've ever uploaded a publicly available photo of yourself to the internet, Clearview AI has that on one of their servers.
Yep.
Ready to identify you from just a few frames of security footage. Or someone that looks like you that they can blame on you because it's kind of garbage.
Yeah.
But their pitch to law enforcement is that they'll be able to quickly identify criminals based on photos and video. That, of course, comes with a whole bunch of huge red flags, like false positives from the technology not working as well as they claim, and also this technology falling into the wrong hands and or being used for nefarious purposes.
But that would never happen.
Which, again, there's no regulations on that happening. Like Clearview, as evil...
They can sell this to anything.
Yeah, as evil as they are, they at least have like a code for who they sell it to. But there's nothing stopping them from selling this to whoever they wanted to.
Yeah, at any point in time, they could change their minds.
Yeah.
There's been a ton of backlash to Clearview AI, but they're still at it. And their latest claims about their technology are pretty nuts. Here's Wired. Some of Clearview's new technologies may spark further debate. CEO Ton That says it is developing new ways for police to find a person, including de-blur and mask removal tools. The first takes a blurred image and sharpens it using machine learning to envision what a clearer picture would look like. The second tries to envision the covered part of a person's face using machine learning models that fill in missing details of an image using a best guess based on statistical patterns found in other images. These capabilities could make Clearview's technology more attractive, but also more problematic.
Oh, yeah?
It remains unclear how accurately the new techniques work, but experts say they could increase the risk that a person is wrongly identified and could exacerbate biases inherent to the system.
Yeah. So, I mean, pretty scary stuff. But also, here's the thing, guys. Deep blurring does not work. I mean, it works like a little, like when you're up-resing content that's already clear to the naked eye. But it definitely does not work for what they're trying to do with it.
Identifiable down to like
human faces.
Yeah.
You are literally just filling in the gaps with guesses. And when a source image is super blurry or pixelated, as security footage often is, what you end up with can be different enough from the truth to be useless or even harmful. The best example of this is this photo of Barack Obama that someone ran through a tool called Face Depixelizer last year. So if you really squint or if you look at it from far away, it's the same face. But the white man on the right is clearly not Barack Obama by any stretch of the imagination. That is not Barack Obama. You're looking for the wrong guy.
Though if you put them together on Twitter, it would be the white guy that shows up and not Barack Obama.
If you stretched them out to opposite sides of the picture, Twitter would obviously they'd choose the white.
This is the guy you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when this tool first started going around, discussion was mostly about how it demonstrated yet again that facial AI has some pretty serious racial biases, since most of the outputs were Caucasian faces regardless of the input, but it also demonstrates that de-blurring or de-pixelating faces is literally impossible. We've been going over this for so long with like the CSI stuff, we're like, enhance it.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't work.
It's impossible. You can't.
It can guess,
Yeah. That's
but
the best
its guess will not be accurate.
Yeah.
In fact, the people who developed Pulse, the algorithm used by Face Depixelizer, say this on their GitHub page. Note, we have noticed a lot of concern that Pulse will be used to identify individuals whose faces have been blurred out. We want to emphasize that this is impossible. Pulse makes imaginary faces of people who do not exist, which should not be confused for real people. It will not help identify or reconstruct the original image. It's just a fun project.
Yeah. But I mean, even the cops who've been watching CSI for 20 years now being like, well, that's impossible. We can't do that.
Nah, we're going to do it anyway.
As soon as Clearview is like, hey, guess what we can do? We can enhance. They'll be like, all right, we'll take it. How much you want? And then a bunch of people get arrested for crimes they didn't commit.
The future looks bleak.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were here for the pre-internet days.
Yeah, just briefly.
We truly are the last great generation.
That's right.
We're the greatest generation.
We are the greatest generation.
You're welcome, everyone.
Millennials. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, Clearview AI, they are really talking out of their ass on this one, promoting this stupid product. But this kind of tech, to be fair, does have some useful applications, like creating absolute nightmare fuel from pixelated images from old video games like Doom, Wolfenstein, or even more recently, Minecraft. That's the Minecraft Steve looks not like how you would expect.
Is he hot?
No.
Oh, okay.
Here's Trump turned into a little girl, just for balance. We saw Obama turn into a white man. Trump turned into a little girl. Here's the old PogChamp emote, just completely misinterpreted. Here's Martin Luther King turned into something. It's not great or useful in any real way, but it is kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. Which, that's what it should be used for.
Yeah.
For fun.
That's
for
it.
laughs.
Just for laughs.
Anyways, finally in dystopian news, here's something truly dystopian. A website that lets you look at what 184 iconic coastal locations around the world will look like depending on how successful humans are at reducing greenhouse gas emissions over the next few decades. The organization Climate Central took 3D Google Earth data and basically raised the water level based on the latest projections for potential sea level rise. And what you get is a lot of places several feet underwater. Bye-bye, Florida.
Yeah.
And in a few cases, that's even if we do successfully limit the rise in global temperatures to 1.5 degrees Celsius by 2050.
Yeah, with a lot of this, it's like, no, this is fucking happening. It's gonna be a while, but it's fucking happening. There's nothing you can do about it.
I grew up pretty far inland Florida, but eventually, my parents said, you gotta keep that house. It'll be coastal property soon.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, property values are only going up for us people who lived inland.
Yeah.
They all laughed at us and called us hillbillies and rednecks.
Who's in the boonies now?
Kinda.
But yeah, for us, looking through all these, the scariest examples are the ones here in LA.
Mm-hmm.
Santa Monica sucks. But what sucks even worse is seeing the entire Santa Monica beach just devoured by the sea, pretty much regardless of what happens.
Eventually,
it's just gone.
The Mariana Trench is going to be filled with bird scooters once if enough time passes.
Yeah. Slightly further inland, you've got this neighborhood in Long Beach, which is going to be below sea level, pretty much regardless of what happens, but to a much scarier degree if nothing is done. And then there's the coastal community of Marina del Rey, which will be fine at 1.5 C, but just absolutely fucked at 3 degrees Celsius.
Not the penthouse suites, baby. Sure, you'll have to take a boat to get to work, but that Venice was built like that anyway.
Now every city is going to be Venice. It's going to be awesome, including Venice, California. They're bringing the canals back.
Yeah. We'll leave a link below, and you should definitely scroll through the 184 different locations featured on the website. We're basically looking at the effects of a tsunami, but just every coastline on Earth, and happening very gradually.
Yeah. So slow that you can almost pretend it's not actually happening at all.
And when your house is underwater, just sell it.
Just sell it.
Thanks, Ben Shapiro. Thanks for the
sell
tip.
to who? Aquaman?
40% of the world's population lives within 100 kilometers of the coast, so this would be a big problem, regardless of how slowly it occurs. And once it happens, not reversible.
Yeah, there's no undo button.
Hearing about it in the abstract or just seeing maps is one thing, but seeing it presented this way, it's fucking terrifying. And it would be nice if everyone in power with the ability to do anything about it could maybe experience that William Shatner, overview effect.
Yeah.
Though as we saw with Bezos himself, it might not work.
Yeah. But again, if even 20% of the people running this planet had a life-changing experience in a Bezos rocket, that could actually help things.
The sad part is like you.
Holy shit! The planet's this is a very delicate planet. We got to do something about this.
The problem is you can already tell by just the way people are whether or not they would experience that. There's maybe a few that things would have an effect on them, but there's just it's like if you shot Marjorie Taylor Greene up there.
Yeah.
What she's gonna come back and be like, I mean, it's no Planet Fitness, but it's pretty cool seeing it from up there.
Zuckerberg too. I mean, what kind of a fucking sociopath do you have to be to go to Hawaii? One of the most beautiful places on Earth. If you haven't been, go. Just not right now. They
Just
don't
not right
want you. But if you have a chance,
Or in the future. They don't want you ever.
Yeah, go there. Who goes to Hawaii? Like takes in just like this gorgeous place on Earth and is just like, I need to buy up a bunch of land in a really shady way and kick out families that have lived here for like generations so I can like have more privacy.
The
What
answer
kind of
is,
fucking piece of shit does that?
yeah, the answer is because he wants that beautiful view forever, and also
Yeah.
he thinks he can protect it better than
This is mine.
the locals. Like, no, I'll take good care of it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I swear.
Yeah, it's. I would hope that, you know, maybe some of them would have a humbling experience, something that changes their entire persona. But it's like, you look at like Mitch McConnell and you're like, that guy's a bitch.
Yeah.
He'd shit his pants and have a bad time.
He would actually die.
Yeah.
Like I was worried Bezos or Captain
Shatner
Kirk
would
would
die,
die,
yeah.
but I'm pretty sure Mitch McConnell would die.
Like, he would just be worried about all of his dirty diaper particles floating around up there. Well, I'm sorry. I shit myself on the way up. I'm sorry.
He sent Ted Cruz up there. He's like, wow, that was awesome. If Jeff can do that, we should let Jeff just
Do whatever he wants.
Do whatever the hell he wants. We should replace every store with one giant Amazon.
Yeah, so maybe it won't work.
Yeah.
Maybe we're just too hopeful.
But they're going to be launching this shit anyway. They should send up one greedy CEO each time.
Yeah, and one Make-A-Wish kid to balance it out.
Just everything balanced.
That's all.
One child that is just on the brink of death.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Ever since that movie Contact, like why haven't they sent a poet? Jodie Foster said they should have sent a poet, and they still haven't sent a poet. Send a poet
Yeah.
so they can write poems
Yeah.
about the overview effect.
There you go. Perfect. There we go. We figured it out.
Yeah.
Jeff, don't call us. We'll call you.
Yeah.
That's it for today's episode. Please just watch our most recent episodes. We got news on the Zodiac Killer. We got news on the Metalhead Principle. We got it all for you. Watch those too, and we'll be back for more episodes soon.
Bye-bye.